Welcome to my channel. I hope you like and subscribe, and thanks for watching. In today's tutorial, I'm going to show you how to crochet this beautiful little romper for baby boys and girls. It's for 9 to 12 months, but you can easily make it smaller or bigger. In the information box below, I'll go ahead and leave some information on how you can easily make it smaller or bigger, so be sure to check that out. Also, in the information box, I'll go ahead and leave the link to my Etsy shop if you prefer a written pattern. Thank you so much for your support. Now, let's get started, but don't forget to subscribe, activate the notifications bell to all notifications so that YouTube can recommend my videos. And if you like this tutorial, please hit that like button. Thanks for watching. Okay, to begin, I'll be using this 3.5mm crochet hook, and today I'm using this DK weight yarn. If you're in the US, you can also use number 3 yarn. This is the yarn that I'm going to be using. It's called Lamia Baby Boom. This is anti-pilling yarn. I like this yarn because it's nice and soft, similar to cotton, so if you prefer, you can also use cotton yarn. Just make sure that it's the same weight. Now, I'll be using this light blue color and in white. Now, to begin, I have 61 chains. This chain here is measuring about 29 centimeters, which is about 11.5 inches. Now, if you're off by 1 or 2 centimeters, it's okay, just continue. Here, to begin, like I said, I have 61 chains. On the third chain from the hook, 1, 2, 3, I'm going to make a half double crochet. Half double crochet into the next, half double crochet into the next, and so on. For this first row, this is all I'm going to do, just one half double crochet on each one of the chains. Now, here at the beginning, we have these chains. These chains here in this row counts as one half double crochet. So at the end of this first row, we're going to have 60 half double crochets, including the chains. So continue like this, just making one half double crochet on each one of the chains, and I will meet you at the end of this first row. Okay, I'm here at the end of this first row. I have a total of 59 half double crochets plus the 2 chains that we have here at the beginning. So that's a total of 60 half double crochets. Now for the second row, chain 2 and turn. Now from here on, these 2 chains never count as a stitch. Now what I'm going to do here is into the next 10 half double crochets, I'm going to make 10 double crochets. So beginning on top of the first one, make your first double crochet and then continue until you have 10 double crochets. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Chain 1. Now into the next 10 half double crochets, make 10 double crochets. So beginning into the next one, make your first double crochet. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 double crochets. Now chain 1 and into the next 20 half double crochets, make 20 double crochets. So beginning into the next double crochet right here, make a double crochet and 1 double crochet into each one until you have 20 double crochets. This is going to be the back side. Continue and I'll meet you back to show you what we need to do next. Okay, I finished making these 20 double crochets. Now chain 1 and into the next 10, you're going to do 10 double crochets. So beginning into this next, make your first one and into each one of the next half double crochets. Same thing until you have 10 double crochets. So that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, chain 1, and into the next half double crochet, make a double crochet, and here we're going to finish with these last 10 double crochets. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and here at the end we have these 2 chains. Just pinch the last chain and there just make your last double crochet. Perfect. This is how we finish the first row. So we have 10 double crochets, then we have 10 double crochets, 20 double crochets, 10 double crochets, and then 10 double crochets. So these 2 here are the front panels. The next set of 10 are the sleeves, and then these here, the 20 double crochets, is for the back. So now you should have a total of 60 double crochets for this second row. Now for the third row, chain 2, turn. Remember, the 2 chains never count as a stitch. Now here we're going to work 1 double crochet on top of each one until we come to the last double crochet for this side here. So that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and this is the last double crochet for this side. So on top of this last double crochet, you're going to do 2 double crochets. Now inside this chain 1 space, make a V-stitch. Double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, and into the first double crochet for this side here, which is the sleeve, make 2 double crochets, 1 and 2. This is how you're going to work each one of the corners. Into the last double crochet for this side, 2 double crochets, inside the chain 1 space, a V-stitch, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, and into the first double crochet for this side, 2 double crochets. So let me show you again. Now I'm just going to work 1 double crochet on each one. This is how you're going to continue for the rest, and do the same thing for each corner. So for each corner, we're going to be increasing 4 stitches. So 4 times 4, 16 stitches is what we're going to increase for each row. Okay, so here's my last double crochet. I did 1 double crochet already, so make 1 more. So that's 2 double crochets into this last double crochet. Inside the chain 1 space, make your V-stitch, and then into the first double crochet for the back side, make 2 double crochets. And then you're just going to continue and work these double crochets for the back side, and then you're going to do the same thing I just did for each one of the remaining 2 corners. I will meet you at the end of this third row to show you what we need to do next. Okay, I'm here at the end of this third row. I have 76 double crochets. Now from here on, this is the row that we're going to always repeat. We are always going to increase 4 double crochets on each corner. So that's 4, 8, 12, and 16. So now for rows 4 through 6, you're going to do the same thing. Chain 2, turn, and then you're going to work 1 double crochet on each one of the double crochets until you come to the first corner where you're going to make your increase. And it's going to be done in the exact same way for each corner. So here's the last double crochet. So into this last double crochet, make 2 double crochets. Inside the chain 1 space, make a V-stitch, and into the first double crochet for this side, 2 double crochets. And this is how you're going to work each one of your corners. At the end of this 4th row, you're going to have 92 double crochets. At the end of the 5th row, you're going to have 108 double crochets. And at the end of the 6th row, you're going to have 124 double crochets. So continue and finish these next 3 rows, and I'll meet you at the end of the 6th row. Okay, I'm here at the end of this 6th row. I have a total of 124 double crochets. Now for row 7, 8, and 9, chain 2 and turn. Here what we're going to do is we're going to work 1 double crochet on each one of these double crochets until I come to the chain 1 space. Here we're going to make an increase inside the chain 1 space only. So for each one of the next 3 rows, we're going to increase 8 double crochets instead of 16 like we've been doing. Okay, this is my last double crochet. Just make a double crochet there, and inside this chain 1 space, which is the first corner here, you're just going to make a V-stitch, a double crochet, chain 1 double crochet, and then continue along for this side, just making double crochets until you come to the next corner where you're going to do the exact same thing. You're just going to make a V-stitch inside each one of the chain 1 spaces. At the end of this 7th row, we're going to have 132 double crochets. You're going to chain 2, turn, and then repeat the same thing for rows 8 and 9. At the end of the 8th row, you're going to have 140 double crochets. And at the end of the 9th row, 148 double crochets. Continue, and I will meet you at the end of the 9th row. Okay, I finished making the 9th row. I have a total of 148 double crochets. Make sure that you have the same number of double crochets as I do, since we're going to continue and divide the sleeves in the next row. Now, this part here is measuring about 11 centimeters, which is almost 4.5 inches. Now, what we're going to do, like I said, is we're going to divide the sleeves. So here's my last double crochet. Now we're going to join to the first, so on top of the first double crochet right here, make a slip stitch. Now chain 2, turn, and right here in the center where we did this slip stitch, make a double crochet. So into the slip stitch, just make a double crochet. Now I'm going to work 1 double crochet for each one of these panels here until I come to the first corner. So I have 1 double crochet, this is 2, (21) and 22 double crochets, including this one here that we did in the center. Now inside this first corner, you're going to do 3 double crochets, and then you're going to chain 4, skip these double crochets for the sleeve, and right into the next corner right here, make 3 double crochets, 1, 2, 3. If you want to add more chains right here under the sleeve, you can. I'm going to leave it like this. I think for the size that we're making this for, it's perfect, but you can always add more and just make it a little bit more loose. Now continue and work 1 double crochet for each one of these double crochets here for this back side, or actually from here on it's going to be the front. So continue, and I will meet you right about here to show you how we're going to divide the second sleeve. Okay, I finished making these double crochets for the front side here. Now into this third corner, you're going to make 3 double crochets, chain 4, skip these double crochets for the sleeve, and into the last corner, make 3 double crochets, and then we're just going to continue and finish the back side here. So I'll do this and I'll meet you at the end of this first row. Okay, I'm here at the end of this first row. This is where we divided the sleeves. I have a total of 97 double crochets. I have 49 for the back side and I have 48 for the front. So that's a total of 97 double crochets. Now to finish, go on top of the first double crochet and join with a slip stitch. Now for the second row, chain 2. These 2 chains from here on never count as a stitch, just like the first row. It's there so that when we finish each row, there is no gap here and we have a nicer finish here. So to begin, into the first double crochet, which is the first double crochet where I did the slip stitch, make a double crochet, and then into each one of these double crochets until I come to the last double crochet for this side. I will meet you here to show you what we need to do next. Okay, I finished making these double crochets here. I'm right under the sleeve. We have 4 chains. All you're going to do is 1 double crochet for each one of the chains, and you're going to do the exact same thing on the other sleeve. 4, perfect. And now we're just going to continue along and work 1 double crochet for each one of these double crochets. And when you come here to these other chains, you're going to do the same thing, 1 double crochet for each chain, and then continue and finish this second row. I will meet you at the end of this second row to show you what we need to do next. I'm here at the end of this second row. I have a total of 105 double crochets. Now to finish, go on top of the first double crochet and join with a slip stitch. And this is how I finished the second row. Now for the third row, chain 2. Here we're going to work front post and back post double crochets. Now if you have a hard time making front post and back post double crochets, then just make double crochets all around. So here, beginning into the first double crochet, which is the first one where I did the slip stitch, make a front post double crochet. Next one, back post double crochet, front post double crochet, back post double crochet, and so on. This is all I'm going to do for this third row. I'm just going to alternate between a front post double crochet and a back post double crochet. Continue like this all around, and I'll meet you here at the end of this third row. Okay, I'm here at the end of this third row. This is where I did front post and back post double crochets. Now this is going to be the last row that I'm going to do like this. So from here on, all we're going to do is just rows of double crochets, and we're always going to have 105 double crochets. So here to finish this row, you're just going to go on top of the first double crochet and join with a slip stitch. Now to begin each row from here on, you're going to chain 2, and you're going to make your first double crochet into the same stitch that you do your slip stitch, which is the first double crochet, and then continue on all around just making double crochets. And at the end of every row from here on, you're always going to have 105 double crochets. This is all we're going to do for the rest of this little outfit. All you're going to do is just double crochets. Now when you finish this row, you're just going to go on top of the first double crochet right here, join with a slip stitch, chain 2, and then repeat the same row. Now I'm not exactly sure how many rows I'm going to do, but continue watching. I will let you know exactly how many rows I'm going to do, and then I'm going to show you how we're going to divide the legs. So I'll meet you at the end of that row. Okay, I finished making this part. This is what it looks like. This is the back side. I did a total of 25 rows, and it's measuring from the top here of the shoulder down to the last row. It's measuring about 34 centimeters, which is almost 13.5 inches. Now, I did some increases. This is so that the hip area is a bit more wider. So let me show you where I did my increases. So from the end of this second row to row 14, which is this one here, I had a total of 105 double crochets at the end of every row. So from row 15 up to row 19, I did some increases. So let me show you. Row 15, which is this one here, I added one extra stitch on this side and one extra stitch on this side. So that at the end of row 15, I had 107 double crochets. Now, same thing for row 16. At the end of row 16, I had 109 double crochet. I added 2 extra stitches on each side. At the end of row 17, same thing. I added 2 extra stitches on each side, and I had a total of 111 double crochets at the end of that row. For row 18, same thing. I added 2 extra stitches. So at the end of row 18, I had 113 double crochets. For row 19, same thing. I added 2 extra stitches on each side. So at the end of row 19, I had 115 double crochets. Now from rows 20 to 24, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. I did not increase anything, so I continue with the same 115 double crochets. But at the end of the 25th row, here at the end, I added an extra stitch. So I did 2 double crochets here at the end. Now at the end of this 25th row, I have 116 double crochets. Now this is optional. I did this so that the hip area here is a bit wider. If you don't want to do the increase, it's fine. You can just continue in the same way, but you are going to have a bit of a difference here when you divide the legs. You're just going to have to do that accordingly. Here I have put some stitch markers, and I'm going to tell you where I put them. Here, this is the back side. I have 10 stitches in between each one of these stitch markers, and for the front, same thing. 10 stitches in between the stitch markers. So each leg is going to have 48 double crochets and 48 double crochets on this side. Now what we're going to do next is we're going to do this part in the center first. So make sure that this is the back side. So I'm going to start right here. I'm going to grab a loop here, bring it through the front, chain 2, and into this same stitch here, make a double crochet. Double crochet into each one of the double crochets here. I have 5 on this side and 5 on this side. This is where we finished. So we're going to have 10 double crochets here. Double crochets. Let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. The 2 chains do not count. Now chain 2, turn, and we're going to do the same thing here. I'm going to do about 3 rows for this part. If you want to make it longer, you can, but at the end, once we finish the legs, I'm going to add about one or 2 more rows so that we can add some snap buttons there, or buttons if you prefer. Okay, chain 2, turn, and then repeat. Okay, 10. Perfect. Now we're going to cut our yarn. So cut your yarn here. And we're going to repeat the same thing on the other side. So just pass your yarn through this last loop, turn this over. Now this here is the front. Skip 48 double crochets and into this double crochet after the stitch marker. Grab a loop, bring it through the front, chain 2, and then again make a double crochet here, and then a double crochet on each one of these 10 double crochets. Okay, 10 double crochets. Let me make sure. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Perfect. Chain 2, turn, and then repeat for 2 more rows. Same thing we did on the back side. Continue. I will finish this, and then I'm going to come back, show you what we need to do next. Okay, I finished making these 3 rows here for the front side. So now we're going to start one of the legs. So I'm going to do this one here since I don't want to cut my yarn. So what you're going to do here is chain 2, and into this first double crochet, which is the last one that I did here, make 2 double crochets, 1 and 2. Now into the next row, make 1 double crochet, into the next row, 1 double crochet. So far I have 4 double crochets. Now into this double crochet where I did this last double crochet for the first row, into this same double crochet right there, make 2 double crochets, 1 and 2. Okay, so that's 6 double crochets. Now what we're going to do is we're going to work 1 double crochet for each one of these double crochets for the leg. So continue just making double crochets, and I will meet you here at this other end to show you what we need to do next. Okay, I'm almost done with this first row. I'm right here before the stitch marker. This is my last double crochet out of the 48 that I have here for the leg. So into this last double crochet here, make 2 double crochets. Now we have the 3 rows here, so into the first row make a double crochet, into the second row make a double crochet, and into the third row make 2 double crochets. So that here we have 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now if you count each one of these double crochets for the leg, you should have 59 double crochets. Now for rows 2, 3, and 4, chain 2 and turn, and we're just going to work 1 double crochet for each one of these 59 double crochets. We're going to do this for a total of 4 rows. So all you're going to do is just double crochets like this. Now when you finish this second row, here at the end, you're going to chain 2, turn, and then repeat the same thing until you have 4 rows. I'll meet you once we have these 4 rows to show you what we need to do next. Okay, I finished making these 4 rows, 1, 2, 3, 4 of just double crochets, and at the end of every row I had 59 double crochets. Now for rows 5 and 6, chain 2 and turn. We're going to work 2 rows of front post and back post double crochet. So beginning on top of the first double crochet, make a double crochet. Now into the second double crochet, work a front post double crochet, back post double crochet into the next, front post double crochet, back post double crochet, and so on. You're going to continue like this to the end. Here at the end, on top of the last double crochet, you're going to make a double crochet on top, then chain 2, and then repeat the same thing. You're going to work your first double crochet on top of the first double crochet, then continue and work the double crochets in the exact same way. Front post, back post, front post, back post, double crochets. I'll meet you at the end of that second row. Okay, I finished making these last 2 rows of front post and back post double crochets. So in total here, we did 6 rows. 4 rows of double crochets and 2 rows of front post and back post double crochets. Now if you want to make your legs maybe longer, you can just continue in the exact same way I showed you here. So here at the end, I just cut my yarn, passed my yarn through this last loop. Now I'm going to show you this other side here. This is the back side. So we're going to do the left leg starting here from the back. So insert your hook right here on top of the last double crochet that we did here in the center. Grab a loop, chain 2, and now into this first row here, do 2 double crochets. We're going to do the same thing we did on the other side. And then in the next row, make 1 double crochet. In the next row, 1 double crochet. And right here where we have the double crochet before the stitch marker, this one here where we did the last double crochet for the first row out of the 3 that we did here, insert your hook right here into this corner and then do 2 double crochets. Here we should have 6 double crochets. 2, 4, 6, perfect. And now we're going to continue all around, just working 1 double crochet for each one of the double crochets until you come to the other end. I will meet you here to show you how we're going to finish this first row. Okay, I'm here at this other side. Now into this last double crochet out of the 48 for the legs, right here, make 2 double crochets. And then into the first row out of these 3, make 1 double crochet, 1 double crochet into the second row, and into the third row, make 2 double crochets, like this. So now I have 59 double crochets, which is the same number of double crochets I had for this side. Now we're going to do 3 more rows in the exact same way. So these 3 rows here, you chain 2, turn, and then continue and work 1 double crochet on each one of these 59 double crochets. So continue, finish these 4 rows, and then I'm going to come back and show you the 2 rows of front post and back post double crochets. I think I'm going to undo this part and make these last 2 rows in white. So I'm going to show you here how I'm going to do those last 2 rows. So finish making these 4 rows and then I'll come back and show you what we need to do next. Okay, I finished making these 4 rows here, 1, 2, 3, 4. Here at the end, I cut my yarn, passed my yarn through this last loop. Now, as I mentioned, I'm going to do these 2 rows here in white. So to do this, if you want to do them in white, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go right here. This is where my last double crochet is. I'm going to grab a loop with white, chain 2, turn, and then on top of this first double crochet, make a double crochet, and then into the second one, work a front post double crochet, back post double crochet, front post double crochet, and so on. This is all I'm going to do for the next 2 rows. So when you finish here, make your last double crochet on top of the last double crochet, chain 2, turn, and then make your first double crochet on top of that last double crochet, then work the same stitches in the same way, front post and back post double crochets. Continue, and I'll meet you back once this part here is done to show you what it looks like. So I'll meet you once this part here is done. Okay, I finished making this other leg and this is what it looks like. Here I did these last 2 rows in white, so I decided to undo the last 2 rows on this side and then also do them in white. So that's why I showed you how to do it here. And this is what it looks like. So now what we're going to do here is we're going to work single crochets along this part. This is going to be the back side, so I'm going to show you first on this side and then I'll show you the other side. So with the blue yarn here, make a loop, and right here on the right side, go right on top, chain 1, and now into this last row here, make 2 single crochets, 1 and 2. Into the next row, again make 2 single crochets. So far I have 4. Now into this first row in blue, make 1 single crochet, that's 5. Into the next 2, 6 and 7. Into the next row 1, that's 8. And into the first row out of these 6 here, make 2 single crochets. So here you should have 10 single crochets. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Perfect. Now there is no right or wrong way of doing this. As long as it looks nice here, you just continue. Now here we have these double crochets in the center, so I'm going to make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, so far I have 20 single crochets. Now into this first row here, make 2 single crochets, 1 and 2, into the next 1 and 2, that's 4 so far, into the next row 1, that's 5, into the next row 2, 6 and 7, into the next row, so 1 single crochet, and into the last row 9 and 10. Let's see, this was 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Perfect. So I have 10, 10, and 10. Now chain 1, turn, and here we're going to work 1 single crochet for each one of these single crochets. We're going to do 2 rows here, or 2 more rows, so that in total we have 3. So all you're going to do is just work single crochets until you come to this other end. Then you're going to chain 1, turn, and then repeat for 1 more row. I will meet you at the end of that 3rd row. Okay, I finished making this 3rd row. Here at the end, I just cut my yarn and passed my yarn through this last loop, and this part here is done. This is going to be the back side. So now we're going to do the same thing here for the front side. Now, I plan to use snap buttons, so I'm going to do 3 rows in the exact same way I did the back side. I'm going to do it here in the front, but if you are going to use just regular buttons, I'm going to show you how to make your buttonholes here on this side. Now we're going to start in the same way, so starting here on the right side, and this here is the front, insert your hook on top of this last double crochet, bring this loop through the front, chain 1, and now we're going to work these 30 single crochets just like we did for the first row. This part doesn't change. So into this first row, make 2 single crochets, then 2 single crochets into the next, 1 single crochet into the first row in blue. So far I have 5 single crochets, and 6 and 7, into the next 8, and into the last row 9 and 10. That's 10 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 for this part here. Now right in the middle we have 10 single crochets, so same thing, make 10 single crochets here. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then we're going to work these 10 single crochets. So into the first row, make 2 single crochets, into the next 2 single crochets, that's 4, into the next row 1, that's 5, into the next 6 and 7, into the next 1, that's 8, and into the last row 9 and 10 on top of the last stitch here. So we have 10, 10, and 10. That's 30 single crochets, which is the same as we have here for the back side. Now chain 1, turn. This is where you would normally do your buttonholes, so decide how many you want to do. If I were you, I would do 1, and then 2, 3, and then 4. So 2 here, and then 1 for each side. So this is how you would do it. So chain 1, turn, and on top of this last single crochet, or the first single crochet, make a single crochet. Now chain 1, skip 1 single crochet, and into the next make a single crochet. Then continue along and work these single crochets until you come to the next spot where you want your next buttonhole. So we said 1 right about here. So right about here. So chain 1, skip this single crochet, and into the next a single crochet, and then you would continue in the same way. You would make a single crochet here, and then chain 1, and then skip this single crochet and into the next, and then make your next buttonhole right about here. And then that way you have 4 buttonholes. Then you're going to chain 1, turn, and then for that third row, you would just work one single crochet for each one of the single crochets, and inside the chain one space you would also do a single crochet so that you also finish with 30 single crochets on that row. I'm not going to do it that way. I'm going to do it exactly how I did it here because I plan to use snap buttons. So I'm going to undo this part here. If you plan to use snap buttons, just do 3 rows of single crochets just like we did on the other side. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this part here. Then I'm going to come back and show you how this part here looks once I have my buttons or my snap buttons on. So, and then I'll leave you a link of the snap button kit that I used in the information box. Okay, so continue and I'll meet you once this part here is done to show you what we need to do next. Okay, I finished making this bottom part. That's what it looks like. I also went ahead and attached my snap buttons. Here they are. Now I'll go ahead and leave a link down here in the information box of the snap button kit that I used. I purchased it from Amazon. It's very easy to use. So that's what it looks like. Now what we're going to do next is we're going to make one of the sleeves. I went ahead and did this side already, so we're going to do this one here. So this is the front side and we're going to go on this side. This is the right sleeve. So right under the sleeve, insert your hook. Right here we have these 4 double crochets. So just go right here, right in the middle. You're going to do the other sleeve exactly in the same way. Nothing's going to change. So you're just going to go right under the sleeve, grab a loop here, bring it through the front, chain 2, 1, 2. I'm using the same hook, 3.5 millimeter with the same yarn. Now into this same space here, make a double crochet. The 2 chains do not count as a stitch. Now between this first double crochet for the sleeve and this part here, I need to make 5 double crochets. So I already have 1. In between the next 2, make a double crochet. That's 2. Between the next 2, that's 3. And right here on top of this double crochet, that's 4. And then right here, that's 5 double crochets. That looks pretty good. And now we have these 32 double crochets around the sleeve. All we're going to do is just make 1 double crochet for each one, like this, until you come to the other end. Continue all around, and I'll meet you at the end of this first row to show you how we're going to finish this row and then start the second row. Okay, I'm here at this other end of the sleeve. This is the first row. I have so far 37 double crochets. I had 32 for the sleeve plus the 5 that I did. That's 37 double crochets up to here. Now between this last double crochet and the first, I need to also do 5 double crochets just like I did here at the beginning. So I'm going to go right into this double crochet here and make 1 right on top. That's 2, 3, 4, and 5. Perfect. Now to finish this first row, go on top of the first double crochet and join with a slip stitch. And this is how I finish this first row with 42 double crochets. We have 5 plus 5 plus 32, that's 42 double crochets. Now for rows 2 and 3, chain 2, and on top of this first double crochet, make a double crochet, 1 double crochet on top of the next, and so on. For these next 2 rows, this is all we're going to do. We're just going to make double crochets for a total of 2 rows. At the end of each row, you're going to have 42 double crochets. So continue, finish this second row, go on top here of the first double crochet, join with a slip stitch, chain 2, and then repeat the same row 1 more time. So continue, and I'll meet you at the end of the third row. Okay, I finished making the third row here. I just joined to the beginning with a slip stitch, cut my yarn, and passed my yarn through that last loop. Now I only did 3 rows, but if you want to make the sleeve longer, you can. That would be up to you. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do these 2 rows of front post and back post double crochets. So to do this part, I'm going to use this 3mm crochet hook. If you're using a different hook size, just go down half a hook size and that should work. And also it's optional. You don't have to go down a hook size. You can do this part here with the same hook that we did the sleeve. It's optional. Okay, so to do this part, we're going to go right here on top of the first double crochet, which is the same stitch where we join with a slip stitch. Now grab a loop with this white yarn, chain 2, and we're going to work front post and back post double crochets. Now if you have a hard time making these front post and back post double crochets, you can do half double crochets all around, maybe do a row or 2. That would be up to you. And then the next stitch here, a back post double crochet, front post double crochet, back post double crochet, and so on. Continue like this all around. When you finish this first row, just go on top of the first double crochet right here, join with a slip stitch, chain 2, and then repeat this same row one last time, so that in total we have 2 rows. And you're going to do the exact same thing: front post double crochet, back post double crochet, front back, and so on. Continue and finish these 2 rows, and then I'll come back and show you how we're going to work the neckline. Okay, I finished this second row of front post and back post double crochets, and that's what it looks like. Here I just joined to the beginning with a slip stitch, cut my yarn and pass my yarn through that last loop, and the sleeve is done. Now, as I mentioned, if you want to make your sleeve longer, you can just add more rows here and then finish in the same way. So now what we're going to do is we're going to make a little collar here. It's optional as it is, it's finished. I'm going to go ahead and add this little collar, so I'm going to show you how I'm going to do it here. So we're going to skip 1, 2, 3. So right about here, I'm going to grab a loop, chain 1, and into this same stitch here, make a single crochet. And then in between each one of the half double crochets, you're going to make a single crochet. I'm going to do this until I come to the first corner. And on every corner, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to reduce the neckline a tiny bit. If you don't need to reduce the neckline, then you don't have to do these reductions, but I'm going to do 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 on each corner. If you need to do more, then by all means, you can do them in between the corners or here in the front. That will be up to you. Okay, so here we have the next 2 stitches, so insert your hook, grab a loop, insert your hook into the next, grab a loop, 3 loops, close. So here's the first reduction here in this corner, or decrease in that corner, and then I'm going to continue in between each one of the half double crochets. I'm going to make these single crochets until I come to the next corner. Here's the next 2 stitches, grab a loop, 3 loops, close. And now continue here in the front side, just making single crochets. And then you're going to do the same thing here in this corner and in this one. So continue, and I'll meet you here at the end of this first row. Okay, I finished making these single crochets around the neckline. I have 51 single crochets. Now for the second row, chain 1 and turn. And here we're going to work single crochets again, but we're going to go through the back loop only, like this. So beginning on top of the first single crochet, make your first single crochet, but make sure you only go through the back loop, like this, all around. That's all we're going to do, just single crochets through the back loop. Continue, and I'll meet you at this other end to show you what we need to do next. Okay, I finished this second row. I have 51 single crochets. Now I've put a stitch marker to mark the center here. So we're going to work 25 stitches here and then 25 stitches here. So let me show you. For the third row, chain 3 and turn. Now in this row, we're going to work triple crochets. So yarn over twice, insert your hook on top of this first single crochet. Take 2 loops off, take 2 loops off, take 2 loops off. Again, yarn over twice, insert your hook on top of the next single crochet, take 2 loops off, take 2 loops off, take 2 loops off. Again, yarn over twice, insert your hook on top of the next single crochet, take 2 loops off, take 2 loops off, take 2 loops off. This is all I'm going to do. Again, yarn over twice and repeat. This is all I'm going to do until I get to about here. I'd say it's going to be about 22 triple crochets. So continue and I'll meet you right about here to show you how we're going to work the center. Okay, I have 22 triple crochets. We have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, not including the chains here. Now, I have 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3 before the stitch marker. So, what I'm going to do into this next single crochet is a double crochet. Into the next single crochet, make a half double crochet, a single crochet into the next, and a single crochet into the center stitch here. Now, if we count each one of these stitches, without counting the 3 chains, we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26 stitches here. Remove this stitch marker, and for reference for the next row, put it on top of this single crochet that I just did. This is the center stitch. Now, into the single crochet after the stitch marker, make a single crochet, then make a half double crochet into the next, a double crochet into the next, and into the next 22 single crochets, make a triple crochet on each, like this. So we're going to do exactly the same thing we did on the other side, on this side here. And that's all we're going to do for this third row. So continue and I will meet you here at the end of this row. Okay, I finished making these 22 triple crochets. Now here at the end, right into this last stitch in the same space here, I'm going to make a double crochet. Now for the 4th row, chain 3 and turn. Now what we're going to do here in this row is we're going to work double crochets in between the triple crochet. So beginning right here between the double crochet and the first triple crochet, make 2 double crochets, 1 and 2. In between the next 2, make 1. In between the next 2, make 2 double crochets. In between the next one, make 1, and so on. This is how I'm going to continue, just alternating between 2, 1, 2, 1 double crochets in between the triple crochets. So let me count how many I have here so far. I have the chains here and the double crochet. That's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. I need to do 1 into the next. That's 12, 13 and 14, 15, 16 and 17 into the next, 18, 19 and 20 into the next, 21, 22 and 23 into the next, 24 into the next, 25 and 26 between the next, 27, 28 and 29, 30, 31 and 32, 33, 34 and 35 into the next. There, so we have 35 double crochets. Let me count them again just to double check. We have the chains here, so we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32, 34, 35 double crochets here. That's what it looks like. Now here I have 3 stitches before the stitch marker, 1, 2, 3. In between the next 2, I'm going to make a double crochet. Now on top of the next, make a single crochet. Now into this last stitch before the stitch marker, make a slip stitch. Remove this stitch marker, and into this center stitch make a slip stitch also, and into the next stitch make a slip stitch. So now we have 3 slip stitches here in the center. Now on top of the next stitch make a single crochet. In between these 2 stitches here make a double crochet, and between the next 2 make 2 double crochets, then 1, then 2, and so on. Now this part here is the same like we did here, so continue now for this side, alternating between 1 and 2 double crochets in between the triple crochets, and I will meet you here at this end. Okay, I'm here at the end of this 4th row. I have 2 double crochets right in between these 2 stitches here. So here at the end, I'm going to make a double crochet by going into this last chain here at the end. This is so that here at the end is exactly the same here as the beginning. Now I'm going to show you one extra row. This row would be optional, especially if you're making it for girls. Now as it is, it's done. If you want to leave it like this for boys, it's perfectly fine, but I'm going to show you one more row here at the end so that it looks a little bit nicer. So we're going to chain 1 and turn. On top of this last double crochet, make a single crochet. Now chain 3, skip 1 double crochet and on top of the next one make a slip stitch, chain 3, skip 1 double crochet and on top of the next one a slip stitch, chain 3, skip 1 double crochet and on top of the next one a slip stitch. This is all I'm going to do until I come to right about the center, and I'll meet you there to show you this part here in the center and how we're going to work it, and then continue along and finish on the other side. I'll meet you right about here to show you what we need to do next. Okay, I'm right here in the center. Let's see, the next stitch is the single crochet, and then we have the next 3 slip stitches, 1, 2, 3. So we have the single crochet, into this single crochet make a slip stitch, then skip 1 slip stitch and into the center slip stitch right here make a slip stitch, skip the next slip stitch and into the next single crochet here work a slip stitch, chain 3, skip 1 double crochet and into the next a slip stitch, chain 3, skip 1 double crochet and into the next a slip stitch. Now this part here is the same as this side, so continue and I will meet you here at this other end to show you the finished little romper. Okay, I went ahead and finished this last row. Here at the end I just did 1 last single crochet, cut my yarn and passed my yarn through this last loop, and the collar is done, and that's what it looks like from the back. Now if you don't want your collar to flop around when you're adding the little button, just go ahead and add 2 little stitches here on each side, and that'll prevent it from flopping around. Now here in the back I went ahead and added this little button. This little button is 11 millimeter, and what I did here is I didn't make any buttonholes here for the back. So what I'm doing is I'm using one of this space in between the first and second stitches here along the very edge, see right here, as a buttonhole. You can do the same thing. Now if you prefer to add a buttonhole, then just go ahead and make single crochets here all around and then add a buttonhole in that way as well. I think this is fine. You can also add 1 more button. I'm only going to add 1 here. And there it is. Here's the back. These are the sleeves. Here's the bottom part from the back, and here's the opening from the back. Here's the front, here's the collar, the sleeves, the waist, and the bottom. These are the legs, and the opening from the front, and the other leg. Okay, so now let me give you the finished measurements. From the neckline to the end of the sleeve, it's measuring about 14 centimeters, which is about 5.5 inches. This part here right across, this part here, it's measuring about 15 centimeters, which is about 6 inches. Now the length from the shoulder to the end here of the legs, it's measuring about 40 centimeters, which is about 15.5 inches. From the middle of the collar to the middle of the opening, right about here, it's measuring about 37 centimeters, which is about 14.5 inches. Now, the opening of the legs here, this part, it's measuring about 15.5 centimeters, which is about 6 inches. And the waist, just the top, it's measuring about 10.25 inches, which is about 20 centimeters. So based on these measurements, this little romper is for baby boys and girls between 9 and 12 months old, but you can easily make it smaller or bigger. I'd say between 3 and 6 months and up to 18 and 24 months. Just be sure to check out the information box below. I'll leave some information on how you can make it smaller or bigger. Okay, so this was today's tutorial. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time.